Hey guys, this is Captain Fruit reporting for duty, and today we're going to go over the top and bottom comics and all the ones in between for the comic books review for December 14th, 2022. Alright, for all of those that are new to the channel, if you don't know what I do here, it's a comic book review. I try to do this every week where I give you the top comics, the bottom comics, and all the ones in between based on my views, and you could have different views, and that's okay. I give you a short synopsis of why I felt that way and the score I gave for each one, and I like to mix it up in which order I do them as well, just to have a little bit of fun. So today, I'm going to start with the top 3 comics, and if you hear these, yeah, that's my notes, because I take notes, because there's no way I'm going to remember all this all the way through. Alright, my number 3 for the top is Dark Crisis Big Bang number 1, one shot, where I gave it a 7.3. You know, I think the art was very solid in this book, and it had really good characterization as well, especially for Barry Allen. It's nice to see this character written well. Flash is a character that's really big in the DC universe. He's been doing great for the DC universe for a long time, which is a shame why they're screwing up that movie so bad, right? But who knows, maybe that'll be the catalyst to the revamp, redo of the whole DCU and trying to get better, but who knows? I'm not holding my breath for that to get good. And you know, I'm not a big fan of multiverse stuff. Not at all. But this issue, it was fun. So if you want some fun Flash and you want just a one-shot to check it out, Dark Crisis Big Bang number 1 might be a good choice for you. Alright, my number 2. This one surprised me a little bit, and it's Secret Avengers number 8. Once again, that's Secret Avengers number 8. I gave it a 7.4. Yeah, let me get to my notes here. First of all, it was decent art. The series continues to have pretty good art. It's a brutal story, but here's the kicker. It's predictable, sadly. They did something very similar to this in the last series of Secret Avengers. You know, sort of you wipe them all out, sort of kind of repeating that, going back to the well, but it is a little different at the end. You see that Ultron has now got halves them all and sort of like reanimating them all. I do want to see what happens next in this series though, because it is different. It's a little offbeat from what we normally do. And what I think I like about it is we get to spotlight characters that we don't get to normally see as much. Like I like Black Knight. I've always liked him. I never thought he got enough attention. Just like Wonder Man. You know, I think a character like Wonder Man, which would not normally fit something like this at all, would put a really cool spin on things. So anyway, once again, that was Secret Avengers number 8 with a 7.4. And my number 1. And this one surprises me as well, because I'm going to be upfront and honest. I have never been somebody that ran out to see Spawn. No offense to Spawn fans. It's never something I really invested my time into. I know a little bit about the character, but I have some of his issues, but I never was a big Spawn reader. No offense to Spawn, it's just something I never really got into. But Batman Spawn, 7.8 was the score for this one. Batman Spawn, it pulled me in because it's different. It's a nice element for two characters that really don't mix well and get them to work together. At least, you have to be honest here, they both did not lose a Martha, right? We didn't get Martha! Who's Martha? No. So thank goodness they weren't both named Martha. It was a nice comparison as well between the two characters and their views on things, as well as how they're alike. Two very dark characters, but exploring the differences and similarities between the two. Good art, and it's an interesting story. It is. I like how they try to make Batman up to par in the fighting with Spawn by having pocket areas that the powers of Spawn are not really there. So that's an interesting twist, which also goes into the story and the plot, and as well as both of them dealing with loss and how they maybe embrace it differently. So this is interesting. I gave it a 7.8. I'm interested to see where it goes next. Now next I think I'm going to hit my middle group before I hit the bottom, but before I do that, I want to say thank you for this group of people here. Without these people, this channel would not be possible. They are amazing and help support this channel through Patreon and Subscribestar, or you can even help if you want, just in the link below for a one-time donation. By joining those, you get extra content. Different videos are added. So if you like music, comic books, tech stuff, jokes, yeah, I provide jokes. This is for you. And as I said, I give them extra stuff, sometimes expanded videos and things like that. And I just want to say thank you to everybody there. Also, if you don't mind, help out this channel, like, subscribe, notification bell, all that stuff, because I'm really trying to hit a goal. And I think I'm going to miss it. My goal was 3,000 subscribers this year, and I'm pretty sure I missed it. Every time it seems like that I get a good surge of subscribers, YouTube keeps taking away. I don't understand that. But I really need your help to make this channel grow. All right, with that said, let's hit the middle now. My first one in the middle I want to mention, let me go to my notes, was Amazing Spider-Man number 15. I gave it a 7.02. So yeah, Amazing Spider-Man 15. It seems that the writer forgot or did not know much about Peter's training for fighting. Because when his spider sense doesn't kick in, he was like, oh, it's going to take me a little while to get back to, change my style or whatever. No, he should have known that. He was trained by Shang-Chi, for crying out loud. It has decent art in this issue, but I'm really not a big fan of the storyline. I really think it, I understand sometimes the Spider-Man, they can go really out there and wild, but this one I just think misses the mark a little bit. It might be because also I don't think I care for what they did with Ben Reilly here, but it is what it is, and that's my thought. And matter of fact, what do you think of the Ben Reilly change here? Do you like it or not? Alright, my next one in the middle was Deadpool number 2 with a 7.2. Decent art. It's an action-packed issue as well, and it's an interesting characterization, I will say, with these characters, and an interesting group of characters. I can't say I'm used to seeing this particular group of characters all operating together, especially Doc Ock and Deadpool in the same issue. So it's an interesting story. It's unusual, but it's a pleasant mix, and I'm enjoying it. And the next one I got on here for my middle of the pack, I was hoping to be a little higher, because I'm a fan of this character, especially since the Avengers days when she led the Avengers. And that's Monica Rambeau, Photon number 1. And I gave it a 7.25, so still not a bad score. It's about time they gave her her own series, though this is Marvel, it probably won't last long. So, sad to say. But it's also what I enjoy about this issue, which might not be a big issue for many people. It's nice seeing Monica's family again. That was one of the great things in Avengers. She would fly to her family, discuss her issues and things like that. It was just nice to see that grounded family. I think we need to see that more in comics. If you want to explore the world outside your window and you want to give a positive message, let's see some heroes in their families, talking, conversing with them, and having that dynamic. I think it really adds something we don't see much today. And there's a nice amount of nods to past issues in this as well, showing that either the writer did their homework or got some notes, understanding the character's past a little bit better than before. Because I've seen, the last few times I've seen Monica, they seem they've not realized certain things about her. Yeah, she was a leader of Avengers, though I will say she did not do well at it. She knew that. She had a lot of stresses. Of course, she also had a lot of things in the background going against her to make it hard for her to be successful. Things like that. But she's proven time and time again she's amazing. She has potential of leadership. She's strong. She's smart. She's a great character that got pushed aside with her name and had to be changed to Photon because of, well, issues. It's a solid start for the series, and I'm interested to see where it's going next. Now that's my middle. Now let's hit the bottom bin, the bottom barrel, the ones that are burning in fire, because they just, well, they weren't that good. And just so you know, before I get too far in depth, I should have said this earlier, but my system is 7s are in the middle. Or you might go 5s in the middle. Well, I'm going to like a grading scale. 7, it'd be 70% is a C. And that would make sense then that there's going to be more in the 7s, because 7 would be average. Getting higher than that is not as likely, and lower than that is not as likely. That's why you see a lot of 7 point whatevers, because it makes sense. Average, especially if there's a week with a lot of average comics. All right, my bottom number 3, are you ready? Was BATGIRLS number 13 with a 7.01. Now I will say, the cover of this issue is absolute crap. This was a dumpster fire of a cover. Hated it. No wonder, the sales don't go good on this. If you go to a comic shop and you see this, there's no way you'd buy it based on the cover, and I could see why the sales might take a dip on this issue with that, if that's the case. Now, Batgirl and Batman have been around long enough to know there's a high possibility of magic and things, so the way they're treating it, the situation was a little corny in that regard. Oh, look at all the possibilities. I get that, but come on now. If there was a Freaky Friday body switch, which once again really original there, magic is probably a pretty high possibility in the DC universe, people. All right, with that said, the art was better than it's been. It's not great, But it's decent, and it's a lot better than it has been in the past. I'm enjoying this art style more than what I did in the past. And so it's also nice that we get a D-list villain back from the dead. And I'm not going to give away that little bit there for you. I want you to read it for yourself if you choose to. 7.01. Yeah. Well, I'm going to give you a hint, though. It's not the Riddler. There we go. All right, my number 2 at the bottom was Planet Hulk World Breaker number 2. I gave it a 7. Once again, that's Planet Hulk World Breaker number 2. Let me go to my notes here. Oh yeah, I will say it was better than the first issue. I enjoyed this much more than Planet Hulk World Breaker issue number 1. The art is okay, and I think this would be better if it was written by Peter David. Call it a hunch. But it seems like Peter David has a better grasp on the Hulk universe and can tie things better in. It's just, I don't know, it's not good enough that I would go out and get this series. That's why it's a 7, even though it's on bare bones average. Remember, I think it's better than the previous issue. Not good enough to make me go, hey, you know what, I'm going to check this out. Just missing the mark. And my number 1 of Swirling the Toilet Bowl. And this one does give me a lot of gripes here. Ooh, I wrote a lot of notes on this one. And that's Invincible Iron Man number 1. I gave it a 6.9 out of 10. Now, I will admit I have not been reading Iron Man books in a very long time. So maybe I'm missing something here. Once again, we have to hear about how great Riri Williams is again and again and again. And why do we have to keep pushing down heroes to prop up other ones? Why can't Tony Stark still be super uber smart, one of the top, and yet somebody like Riri can also be smart, not have to go, well, she's so much better than me. It just seems like they're going out of their way to continue to push that. And then they wonder why people don't gravitate towards those new characters when they realize that all they do is they're bagging on the ones that they've already loved. Why can't we pump them both up? Or use Tony Stark to pull her up to make her a more interesting character? They just really fail on that by pushing the Mary Sue agenda. It does not make sense either that Tony would pay everybody off, because there's an accident in this issue, but I think it was a setup, obviously, and he's paying off people that weren't even in the area. Now, you might go, well, so what, he's rich, and if that was the case, that'd be fine, but they're mentioning, you know, he's not rich anymore, and he might be bankrupt, especially by the time he's done paying off everybody. So why on earth would he do that, especially when he's complaining just in a few pages later that he hates being on a budget? Yeah, he hates being on a budget, but he'll just throw out money to people who weren't even in the area that are lying and falsely making accusations. In other words, they're thieves. He stops thieves, but he's okay with it as long as they're stealing from him. That makes absolutely no sense. It's stupid. It just, ugh. If he's low on money, once again, it's absolutely absurd that he complained about being on a budget as he just pays off thieves. And the artwork, though, is decent. That's one of the saving graces. It's decent art. And so this really issue fails to take off for me. Yes, it gives a mystery to get more involved into it. But once again, it's at him slamming himself, him being broke. It's deconstruction again, something we've seen for ages now with Marvel. Constant deconstruction of other top-tier characters. Now, granted, I realize Iron Man was a B-list, C-list character up until the MCU. I get that. He never really hit that height. You know, granted, some of us that love Avengers and Iron Man from the previous know him and knew him well, but otherwise the general population didn't. But now when you got him more popular because of all those things and you deconstruct him like this, it just seems like a mistake. But that's my thoughts, not yours. I'd love to hear your thoughts on these issues. Is there something I missed? Something I should have checked out? Something that you said, hey, thank goodness you avoided that? Whatever it is, have your differences. Go ahead and put them in the chat. All I ask is please be civil and care about one another when we share and exchange ideas. We don't have to hate each other if we disagree. With that said, thank you everybody for your time. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and until next time, keep it frugal.